Our cover story tonight is about the 21st century's rising scientific power. It is India's story. A story that every Indian should be proud of. In just over 12 hours from now, India will be sending another mission to space. Aditya L1. It is India's first space-based solar observatory. Aditya L1 will be launched by the PSLV rocket from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. This is the same space center, by the way, where Chandrayaan-3 was launched from, and several other interesting missions will be launched from in the coming months. Aditya means sun. L refers to Lagrange point 1. There are 5 Lagrange points in total, and think of them as parking spots in space. India's mission will be placed on L1. It will have uninterrupted views of the sun. L1 is at a distance of around 1.5 million kilometers from planet Earth. And from there, Aditya L1 will be observing solar activities, watching how what happens in the sun impacts the weather in space. Aditya L1 will also be studying the topmost layers of the sun. It's called the corona. India's mission will study corona's temperature, velocity, density. There will be 7 payloads aboard Aditya L1. VELC, or the Visible Emission Line Coronagraph, will study the corona suit, or the Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope will focus on the photosphere and chromosphere imaging. Solexis and Helios, or Solar Low Energy X-ray Spectrometer, and High Energy L1 Orbiting X-ray Spectrometer will study the sun's flares. And then you have ASPEX and PAPA, PAPA, or Aditya Solar Wind Particle Experiment and Plasma Analyzer Package for Aditya. And together, they will basically analyze the electrons and protons in the solar wind. And finally, the advanced triaxial high-resolution digital magnetometers will study the interplanetary magnetic field at L1 Lagrange point. Only a few countries have been able to send a solar probe in space. The United States is a part of this club, as is China, the UK, Europe, and Japan. Aditya L1 will be launching at 11:50 a.m. on the 2nd of September. You will be able to watch the blast-off live on WION, and as we count down to that mega launch, here's another milestone that India has achieved. India's largest indigenous nuclear power plant has started operations in full capacity. The plant is located in Gujarat's Kakrapar. Its commercial operations started in June, but till now the reactor was operating at 90% capacity. It is a 700 megawatt electric plant. For the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, Kakrapar is just the beginning. It plans to build at least 16 700 megawatts pressurized heavy water reactors. Construction is already underway in Rawatbhata in Rajasthan and at Gorakhpur in Haryana. And I don't know if you know this, but for almost 34 years, India was largely excluded from trade in nuclear plant and material. And this was following India's first nuclear test in the year 1974. India turned this challenge into an opportunity and built its civil nuclear power program, largely without fuel or technological assistance from another country. And today, India has not just built its largest indigenous nuclear power plant, but also a payment system coveted by the world. I'm talking about UPI, or Unified Payments Interface. In August, UPI crossed 10 billion monthly transactions. The number is 10.58 billion to be precise, and this is an all-time high. In July, there were 9.96 billion UPI transactions in total. And over the last year, UPI transactions have surged 67%. NPCI, or the National Payments Corporation of India, is right. This feat deserves nothing less than a drum roll. From our neighborhood fruit seller to airline counters, today everyone has a UPI barcode in front of them. Making a payment is like a cakewalk. You don't need to carry cash or a card, nothing. Your phone is all you need. You can travel to another city with just your phone and your charger, and you will be fine. In fact, countries around the world are trying to adopt India's successful UPI system. And it has already become operational in Nepal as well as Bhutan. And Sri Lanka too will soon join the club. India is also partnering with Singapore to link the payment system so that the flow of remittances becomes a lot easier. The 10 billion milestone is a testimony to India's digital prowess. You see, India was always a leader in science and technology. It's just that India had lost its lead in this field somewhere along the way. Ancient India was the leader in science and technology and mathematics. Indian mathematician Aryabhat was the first to create the symbol of zero. India gave the world the decimal system, also numeral notations. As early as 500 BCE, Indians were using different symbols for different numbers. It was ancient India that came up with the number system. And today, it is called the Arabic numerals because the Arabs took it everywhere. By 3000 BCE, India was constructing canals and artificial lakes for irrigation. The Indus Valley civilization was using animal-drawn plows in 2500 BCE. Lothal in Gujarat had the world's earliest known dock. India was making steel as early as 500 BCE. India was the first to smelt zinc by distillation process. It's a long list, one that India needs to be proud of. Also of the fact that today India is back on the front seat. It is 2023 and India has emerged as the rising scientific power of the 21st century. And you know what's even more beautiful? Despite all the achievements, India remains humble. Let me tell you a story. In the weeks and months leading up to the launch of Chandrayaan-3, ISRO found itself battling a big challenge. The scientists and the employees of ISRO had to work overtime and extra hard. And the bosses wanted to incentivize the workforce. And what better incentive than money? But ISRO did not have that option. Instead, India's Space Research Organization started offering free masala dosas and filter coffee for its staff at 5 p.m. every evening. Speaking to a US-based newspaper, ISRO's mission scientist Venkatesh Sharma has said the free coffee and dosa encouraged everyone to stay on longer. That says a lot about India and Indians' simplicity. We have reached the moon, become self-sufficient, become a global leader in digital payments, and yet we very much have our feet on the ground. Come the G20 summit, you will see India opening its home to the world, sharing its learnings, upholding the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and more on it coming up in just a few minutes. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.